Hi, Kareem. How are you?
So good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
We might be the only people here.
Hi, welcome to Film Lab's Unfinished Works program. I'm Jaclyn Johnson. I'm Jaclyn Johnson, the Unfinished Works coordinator. And I just wanted to let everybody know that Film Lab is a non-for-profit organization devoted to the promotion and support of gender and racial parity in film and television programming. So, what you have just watched is the reading of Tomboy and Girly Girl by Kareem Her. And we read the first 40 pages, or about the first 40 pages, correct?
Mhm.
And so we are going to have a little conversation with the writer, Kareem. Kareem, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
I really enjoyed your scripts. And you know, listening to the actors read and actually reading the script, beforehand, it was just the way you write, especially in your stage directions, is so creative and so lively. You paint a very good picture, a very good story of the world, the characters, and like their attitudes, what they're thinking, and what's going on. So it was very, for me, it was like the story was playing in my imagination. So, I just wanted to tell you that I appreciated your writing and the lively storytelling that you possess and that you gave in the script. So I just wanted to know, is this is your first screenplay, or have you written many other works before?
It's my first completed screenplay. That does not mean the first one I started, obviously. It is my first screenplay. I've written other things before. I wrote mostly musicals and plays, and I tried to write a novel. Technically, I finished it, but we don't have to talk about it.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, so this I think I started about 10 years ago. I kind of wrote it on and off, and in between there have been many other screenplays I have attempted to write, and they kind of fell by the wayside for um, various reasons. I tend to have this problem where whenever I'm writing something, I either have a plot in mind and I'll outline it and then be kind of done with it because I feel like I've completed it already, I guess, or I feel like I solved it or something, or um I don't know how to write it out in a way that isn't bullet points with me like caps locking. This is gonna be great once I do the thing, which I never do. Or I will have these voices for these characters, and I know what they're. I hear the dialogue and I write it all down. I get really excited, and then I realize they're not actually saying anything. It's not. I don't know where the A to B is for these people. I don't know what story they fit into. I just have 5 pages of dialogue that I think is fun, but it doesn't really fit anywhere. So
Mhm.
I have, one or the other for a lot of different things. And for some reason, this was the one that I had both for. And then I wrote it, and then we read it, and now we're here.
Mhm.
Yay.
Yay. So, was there anything in particular about the adventures of Tomboy and Girly Girl that made you just like keep going and be able to finish it? Like versus like for it to be your first completed screenplay?
I actually have no idea. And I wish I knew because then I could, take that and apply it to everything else. I think uh, it really is just that it was the first thing that I the idea for the Adventures of Tomboy and Girly Girl came from a conversation I had with my friend. And she was like, "I have a title for this thing I want to write, but I don't know what it's about." And the title was The Adventures of Tomboy and Girly Girl. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, "I know exactly what the story is. It's gonna be about two kids who grew up together and they wrote this comic book, and now they're grown up and it's coming to life." And I think a lot of it was just in the title. We had the personalities of these two kids and how they were before, and then how they grew up to be, um, and that helped a lot, I guess. So thank you to that friend. Um, yeah, and I love comic books so very much. I don't know if you can tell, but it's yeah, yeah, it was a combination of all the things I love. I guess I love writing about young people. My novel was a YA novel, so I love writing about young people figuring themselves out. I love, um, writing yourself into stories where you haven't seen yourself before. That is a lot of
Mm.
what I try to do. Um, so I just kept going. Every time I like abandoned it for something else, I would always come back to it because I think also something else would happen. Like, yeah, yeah. Not to get too personal, but like something else would happen like in my life, and then
Mhm.
that would make me think of another way I could write the scene that I was stuck on or something. And now it's technically that I will have to rewrite a lot of it, even just in these 40 pages. I think I was hearing things being like, oh, that doesn't make sense because it refers to a scene I wrote before that I then cut but never
Mm.
fixed. It happens. But yeah, so I guess I have to do it again, which is exhausting, but it's fun. So, and that is why we do what we do, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, no. I love the point that you brought out about writing for yourself and like to see yourself in, to see yourself in your work and to see yourself in, art and movies and TV and like comic books and like and what's out there. We need to see ourselves. So do you feel like you put yourself a little bit of yourself into Heather and Ashley and Dahlia and Nell, like, or and even Madeline, or like do you feel like you put a little bit of yourself into all of your characters, or just like
Yeah, I
what do
mean,
you think about it?
yes and no. A lot of them are based on like friends I've had. Like Madeline. Madeline is not very much like my mother, but the relationship that Dahlia has with Madeline is a lot like the relationship I have with my mother. Dahlia is mostly me. I I think for Nell and Dahlia, the thing that I wanted to, sort of have be their core things, I guess, is Nell is very good at everything, but she doesn't know what she wants to do with it. And
Hmm.
Dahlia has a lot she wants to do, but she doesn't think she's capable of doing any of it. And that was especially in high school. That was how I felt all the time. I had so many things I cared so much about and just didn't know what to do about it, with it, etc. And I was kind of waiting for. I felt like I was always waiting for my like movie adventure, I guess. I don't know if you ever watched movies like Stand By Me or like Now and Then, and it's all these 12-year-olds who are like best friends with each other and they like discover dead bodies in the woods.
Yeah.
And I wanted that, so I don't know why I wanted to see a dead body because I would have passed out, but I wanted something like that so badly. I wanted to have these adventures, and I couldn't ride a bike. I had no friends when I was 12. Like I did not live anywhere near the woods. But that was what I was kind of waiting for. And so I wrote it instead because I didn't have it. But yeah, Dahlia was mostly me. Nell, the relationship she has with Nell is also based on friends I had when I was a kid and how we drifted apart like in middle and high school. Um, Ashley specifically is based on very lovely and well-meaning white friends I have who like they're not trying to be, but they will say things, and I'm like, that's not great, but you love them anyway.
Hmm.
Um, and Heather, I think like she's a lot cooler and honestly a lot nicer than I am, but whenever I feel like the dumb one of the group, that is like my just I will say things that are should have been unsaid, but she's also trying, and I think that's the best anyone can do regardless of like actual ability. Like I will never actually be the smart person, but I can try to educate myself, or I can try to be a better friend, or etc. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thanks for that. You touched on the relationships between Madeline and Dahlia, and I was just curious, and because we only did get to read the first 40 pages, but so curious to know more about Nell's relationship with her mom. Is that something that you are going to like expand on or
Um.
go back to? What are your plans with that?
Her her mom is dead, so she's not gonna come back.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, but no. She. Yeah, they both have single parents.
Mhm.
Mal Dahlia's dad was never in the picture because he like abandoned Madeline when she was pregnant, and Nell's mother died young, and George kind of like threw himself into his work, which made Nell feel abandoned, and that's why they still have like this very rocky relationship where he's like trying, and she's like, I don't care if you try now, because where were you when I was 7?
Right.
Yeah, that that's where that was. It's one of those things where there's a lot, I think, in the screenplay where I kind of it's the 5 pages of outline thing where I have it in my head, but it's not in the script, and I don't know if to someone who's not me, who doesn't know
Mhm.
all the backstory, if it will make sense. Like, is it weird that Nell never mentions her mother? Is it weird that some things don't get discussed, but everyone seems to know it? Which is part of the reason I wanted to hear it like out loud by other people. But now I have so many pages of things I have to um, edit, which is exciting. Like, I like having a concrete list of like things to fix
Right.
because I can fix a line that doesn't make sense. I can't fix what's the big third act plot twist that's going to like make everything amazing. Like that's too big. I don't want that. I want line notes.
Mhm. Mhm. So what are your okay, so is this the first draft, right? Of the
It's the
screenplay?
first draft of the new version.
Okay.
There have according to my drafts folder, where like every time I save a new one, it's like Tomboy and Girly Girl version 1, version 2, version 3.5 because of like some note someone gave me. I think this is like 8, but there were like 5 in a row where I fixed like one very small thing each, so it's really more like 5.3.
Okay. Okay. So would you say like you're halfway there, or
I wish
where would
have
you
no
say you
idea.
are with the screenplay?
I really have no idea. I think, yeah, I wish I knew. It
Hmm.
would be great if I were halfway. I don't think I am. Um, and I don't think I'll ever really know, I guess. I don't think a script is ever finished, is the unfortunate thing. But at some point you stop working on it and it gets produced, or you throw it out either way. Um, but yeah, I think the version that I have now is closer to what I want it to be than when I started, which is great. I have, the list of concrete things I know I have to fix that are like relatively easy fixes. There is one kind of like bigger overarching note that someone gave me that I thought, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it, and maybe I should incorporate it. But if I do, I will have to rewrite the entire thing, basically, and I don't
Oh.
want to do that. So I think I will see how it reads with the smaller changes. And
Mhm.
if that person stays right, which they probably will, I will do it again. And it'll only hurt a little.
Okay. So was it helpful? Like, how did it help you to hear actors read your script, and like, was it helpful for you? Like, how has this process like helped you um, with your writing?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely helped. I think uh, always just hearing it out loud, and specifically here, like, I have a lot of dear lovely actor friends who know me so well by now that they will know how I talk and how I intend a line to sound, which is great. And I love that and I really appreciate it. But sometimes I think I need someone who isn't me to read it to see like how someone else would interpret it.
Hmm.
And that helps with clarity. Like, is the meaning of this coming across? Because if they read it a completely different way, I will be like, okay, like something needs to change. Um, and it's always just fun to have actors read it out loud. It feels a little bit more real. I think it's not just like in my head. Um, yeah, and it's always when someone else is reading your work that you realize there is like a really big glaring like typo or something, and I could spend hours looking at the same sentence and not notice something really obvious. So, that was helpful. Yeah, it's also really I mean, I don't know if this is true for anybody else, but I have such a hard time watching my stuff, like in readings or um in productions or anything. So it's just something I have to get used to, I think. So that'll, yeah, it's just like like immersion or something. You just have to deal with it. So that was also helpful. Yeah, I'm so glad I got to do this. So thank you so much.
Oh, of course. Thank you for sharing your work with us. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and the just the way you write, you're so descriptive and very lively, so as I was reading it, and then as the actors were reading out loud, I could just imagine the whole scene, and just the I guess it's going to be a movie. Do you plan to like kind of make it a movie?
I hope so. If someone wants to make it a movie, then yes, I would love for it to be a movie.
So it's-
Yeah, I don't think like a tiny robot bee is really gonna read on stage. So,
no.
um, yeah, like yeah, I love a movie. I love like a graphic novel. I would love anything that I can do with it, I guess. But yeah.
The robot brooch, the robot bee, the pin, he could be like a character, like an actor. Could I don't know. There's so many, like, the theater is so magical. There's so many ways, like,
True.
you
Yeah.
can edit that, or like, you could do anything. You could take the script and make it, fit any medium you want. So, but no, like, I just really appreciated how descriptive and like just I feel the word that's coming to my mind is lively. Like, your writing is so lively. It wasn't, it was very entertaining, kept me engaged. It, was not boring at all. And I really appreciated especially like just the strong female characters you had. And, they're also different, and but they all were, pretty strong. Even Heather, at some point she was past what we read, she kind of, I don't want to give anything away, but she kind of like finds her own voice and speaks for herself. And I really appreciated that. So I just wanted to thank you for sharing your work with us. So yeah, like what so you're open to film, you're open to theater. Like, what would be your plans, your big plans for, like, what do you plan to do with this script now? What's the next step?
The next step is rewriting it. I honestly don't know what to do with it after. I feel like, for plays and musicals, you can do a concert of your songs. You can apply for workshops and grants and readings and everything, but I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not like a tech person at all. If I touch an electronic object, it will break. And so many of these of the like similar grants and opportunities and stuff are for filmmakers specifically, or are for directors, and are for people who want to make their own movie. And I can't do that. So I honestly have no idea what I can do with it by myself. Which is a little bit scary, honestly, but yeah, I guess I rewrite it and then I see where I go from there.
Yeah, and you never know. Like, there's all sorts of help out there. You might not be a tech person, but there are people who are.
Somebody.
Somebody's a tech person,
Yeah.
and I hope they, cross paths with you, and this could turn into a movie, or whatever you want it to turn into.
Or I
So
could cross paths with an artist and made the graphic novel first. Either way.
do that. You could do that. Like, there's so many possibilities because it is so like rich. It's just it's so rich and colorful. I don't. Yeah. Maybe because of the way you were describing the brooch, the bee brooch, or yeah. I just when I think about the Adventures of Tomboy and Girly Girl, it's very lively. That comes to my mind, colorful, rich, like exciting. So no, I really appreciate it. I'm excited to see what you decide that you will do with this script. Very exciting. Um, and I appreciate you sharing it with us.
I
Um,
appreciate you having me.
of course, of course, of course. So yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add or let anyone know about?
I don't. I like. Should I plug my SoundCloud? Like, I don't. No, I'm good. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for your time, Kareem. And yeah, I'm just excited to hear what is in store for you. Please keep us posted. And yeah, thank you so much for your time tonight. Or actually, it's the morning, right, where you are? Like
It's like almost noon. It's
almost
basically
noon. Okay, so well, thank you again. And yeah, please keep us posted on what happens. Yeah.
have a good night.
Thanks, you too. Good night. Bye.